अस्सलाम वालेकुम एवरीबडी, माय नेम है समर हसन एंड आई एम द फाउंडर ऑफ एपिफनी। जैसे कि आप जानते हैं, मैं समर हसन हूँ और मैंने एक ये सोशल एंड क्रिएटिव एंटरप्राइज क्रिएट की थी। तकरीबन अब तो 4 साल होने वाले हैं, कॉल्ड एपिफनी। और जैसे कि आप जानते हैं कि एपिफनी के अंदर एक जो हम सीरीज़ करते हैं, एक सेशंस हम रन करते हैं जिसका नाम है स्मैशिंग इट। सो स्मैशिंग इट ओरिजिनली, ऑल क्रेडिट गोज टू सऊद, माय co-founder in crime actually, जिनके साथ मैंने ये epiphany create की थी. Now he's moved on to another, bigger and better things. But at that time, he is the one who coined the term smashing it. And smashing it क्यों था? Because we keep talking about breaking the glass ceilings, right? And what that means is essentially कि at a certain point in time, ख़वातीन especially जो हमारी society में रहती हैं, कहीं ना कहीं आके एक जगह पे एक स्टॉप आ जाता है और फर्दर प्रोग्रेस नहीं कर पाती हैं। कभी कभी इसलिए प्रोग्रेस नहीं कर पाती हैं क्योंकि रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज़ होती हैं, हाउस होल्ड की रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटीज़ होती हैं। कभी कभी नहीं कर पाती हैं क्योंकि करियर पाथ डिफाइन नहीं होता, या कोई ऐसे किसी ऐसी फील्ड में वो चली जाती हैं जिसमें बाय एंड लार्ज मेल डोमिनेंस होती है और लोगों को लगता है कि शायद एज अ वुमन वो शायद वो काम नहीं कर सकती जो आदमी कर सकते हैं। तो बहुत सारे इस तरह के डिफरेंट चीज़ें हैं जिसकी वजह से हमने सोचा कि नहीं, इट्स नॉट जस्ट अबाउट ब्रेकिंग द ग्लास सीलिंग एनी मोर, इट इज़ एक्चुअली अबाउट स्मैशिंग इट, राइट? सो हेंस द नेम स्मैशिंग इट। और स्मैशिंग इट क्यों हमने शुरू किया था? बिकॉज ऑब्वियसली, जैसे आई एम assuming that a lot of you are aware, women have barriers to their growth, to their personal and professional development, sometimes by society, sometimes by culture, sometimes by their own family, sometimes by themselves. Right, so something or the other at times holds them back. But then, on the other hand, we've got these fantastic women who have done marvelous things with their careers. And it's not so. Initially, when we started with this concept, we thought that we should have people who have really, who are well known and who are really sorry, who are not well known and who are not famous, and they need to be extraordinary while being ordinary, right? So that was the original objective, and we wanted to brand and showcase these women. And then we realized, okay, this is great, but at the same time we need to mix it up with people who are actually well known, influencers, and well known and well reputed in their fields. The reason being that they too can act as true role models for other women, right? So women, and when I say women, also young people, right? So young people in general, both men and women. So anyway, so hence smashing it got coined. अब obviously काफ़ी सारे आपने देखा होगा कि since COVID हम बहुत सारे अब webinars भी करना शुरू हो गए हैं। पहले हम first I used to shy away from being so visible online, but now this is happening. So anyway, so what we decided was, before the year ends, so we had our session, smashing it wala session, this time around already, but we thought that we would do a special edition with somebody that I greatly admire. She's holding multiple portfolios. She's doing some marvelous different marvelous things in her career. She is also an adjunct faculty member while pursuing her profession full time. So all of these reasons led me to decide that, okay, we should have a special session with none other than Huzaima Bukhari. She's an advocate high court. Like I mentioned, she's a visiting faculty at LUMS. She is the editor of Taxation and also a partner at Huzaima Ikram, a leading law firm in Pakistan. So without much ado, I'm going to welcome her to the virtual stage. All right. There we go. जी, अस्सलाम वालेकुम, कैसी हैं आप?
Walaikum salam. How are you?
बिल्कुल ठीक. Thank you so much for making time. I know it's 8 o'clock. I hope you've had your dinner. Maybe not.
Oh well, I'm an early sleeper, so I'll go to sleep at 9:30.
Okay. So awesome having you. Would you like to tell us a little bit more about yourself in your own words?
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, I'm playing multiple roles. I'm an advocate high court, yes. I'm a teacher. I'm a mother, a wife, and a lot of other things. Plus, I do a lot of social work. So there are lots of things going on in my life. I would say that my life is divided into different categories. And if I trace my history, I can talk about my childhood, which was in a very, kind of moderately liberal family where I was allowed to do whatever I liked. So much so that at the age of 8, I joined dancing classes because I was very fond of dancing.
Oh.
And my mother, who was a very strong support, she helped me to study, and at the same time, she was grooming me very well, in the sense that I was prepared for taking up any kind of profession in my life Initially, I wanted to be a doctor just like any other child, but later on, I decided to change my field and go into something more. Something different, like becoming an architect. But of course, that also didn't work out. Now, unfortunately, at the age of 11, I had a very bad experience. My mother died. In fact, she died in a very bizarre kind of circumstances. Returning home from the school, we found her dead and, little burnt and all that stuff. So for an 11-year-old, it was a pretty shocking experience. But then I
Hmm.
realized at that time that I was a person of very strong nerves. I mean, even being the eldest, my younger sister was 8 and my younger brother was 10 months old. Uh, Although this was a great shock for me, but at that time, my senses were totally working. And you'll be very surprised to know that my father was a flight engineer, and he was on a flight. He was abroad. So you can imagine that we were totally alone, here in Pakistan, with my grandparents living in a different home. And
Hmm.
my own grandmother, my maternal grandmother, she was in Dhaka at the time. So this was pretty shocking. And what I did at the time was I was more concerned about my younger brother, who was just an infant. So I prepared milk for him. Now, from that time onwards, I think I developed that very strong s- nerves of steel. So
Mhm.
any
Mhm.
crisis now is no crisis for me. So from there onwards, that's my first phase of my life. Then there was a second phase where a stepmother comes in at the age of 14 and gives us a totally different
Hmm.
lifestyle, which is very conservative. So much so that she was of the view that girls should not go to college and they should not go to the university, and the typical kind of Ziaul Haq mentality, where you try to keep the girls in chadar and char diwari and suffocate them and let them. And I was allowed to study, but
Hmm.
privately. So what I did was I did my I did my inter and graduation as a private student.
Okay.
After that, I refused to do my master's privately because I thought that is going to be very challenging for me if I have to study at home and do masters. So I didn't do my masters. But the first opportunity I got was uh, teaching in a high school. I started off there from nursery class and the primary section, and I learned that I was very comfortable, in a career, in a set
Hmm.
career. So the
Hmm.
next thing that occurred, in fact, it was advised by my younger sister. She said, if you have this kind of qualification, then you should go for the CSS examination. I, and in Karachi, there was no concept of CSS, which was not very common. So
Hmm.
we never thought
This is
about
which year?
taking that up.
ये कौन
This
सा
is
साल था?
1983,
Okay. Mhm.
back in 1980. So I'm this December I will turn 61. So you can imagine that I've covered a very large span of life.
Mashallah. Hmm.
So in 83, then I decided, okay, well, I'll do CSS and then I'll go into foreign service, uh, do something good for Pakistan, with that kind of determination that,
Passion
I
and
have to
fervor
do
and
something good
yeah.
for my country. The typical youth mentality that, yes, I have to work for my country, give back to the country what the country gave to you, something like that. Anyway, but uh, I took about 3 months to study, and alhamdulillah, I scored 18 on the merit list and got my foreign service group, which I wanted. But
Hmm.
later on, I had to change it because, again, like I told you, because of my stepmother, she was highly conservative. She was very disappointed, that I would have to leave home uh, and go and work in a male's world, which she was always dreading. But fortune, like I believe that fate has an important role to play. It pushed me out and helped me to pursue this career, which was of civil superior services. And for 19 years, I was in the tax department because I
Hmm.
had to change my group. So, but another very important thing that happened was that in this, while I was doing my specialized training in income tax, I met my future husband, and we together, then we decided to live together and start a new life. for which I had to bear a lot of resistance from my home, because again, this was a kind of a mismatch for them. I being a Sayyid and he a non-Sayyid, and Araing and Bukhari, and that kind of combination was unthinkable for them. But I was a determined person, and I said, no, I've decided I'm going to live with this guy. So uh, that's it. So I started a new life there. So for 19 years, I remained in the civil service. But first he resigned, and then later on, I also resigned in 2003 to start off our own firm, our own law firm. And he, of course, had already started it, but I joined him later on. And then I did my LLB from the University of London as an external candidate. Again, I was kind of, condemned to study privately all the time. You can imagine that running a home, bearing two children, and the remarkable thing I will tell you about, I'm not trying to portray myself as
No,
as
no,
a
not at all.
superwoman or something, but but
We
a
want to
fact
hear
is
your
that
story.
good. A fact is that despite all the pressures of work and home, I raised my sons without giving them any formula milk. So they were like, how do you say, I suckled them for about 1.5 years each. So, which was manageable. I mean, people say that, they cannot move around, they cannot take care of kids if they have a career, they cannot take care of the home, but that's all nonsensical, because a woman is so multitasking person that she can do anything that she likes, and with the best capabilities. So those girls who think that they can just do one thing, either run the home or their career, they should always remember that they have the ability to manage both the things. So this is now my second phase in which we are struggling and trying to eke out a proper living, because we both thought, that the civil services is good. It's a wonderful place to be in, and you have a very permanent kind of secure kind of a job. But at the same time, there are some ground realities, among which the chief one is that the salaries are very low, and it's not possible for a person to have a proper life with that limited salary. So that's what forced us to look for better avenues. And alhamdulillah, we've done very well, and both my sons have were able to study abroad in universities, and now they are both doing very well, so we are very happy. Now during this period from 2003 onwards, I joined my husband, and we were working together in this. We are still working together in this law firm, which specializes in taxation. And at the same time, we have also been doing a lot of publications, like writing articles, and there are a number of books which are used in different institutions for teaching also. So we are authors, we are writers, and besides, other besides taxation, my great interest is in social work, and of course writing something about the community, and writing something good about the things, or different things that I've noticed, that I read about, that I come across. So for that, I have a column in the Daily Times where I write on different topics other than taxation. I mean, there are sometimes I do write articles on taxation also, but something which is understandable by the common person, because this is a very technical subject, and people are kind of fearful of even talking about tax, let alone you know let alone talk about it, or even work it out. So it's a pretty tough area for ordinary persons to understand. Now this life has been quite a roller coaster, because in the initial phases we were struggling, and from 2000 onwards it's been more of a good playing field. I mean, we have smooth sailing. But I can tell you one thing, that the initial phases of my life were very, very difficult, extremely difficult. It's it's a miracle, how we have managed to keep our senses um, gathered and our nerves in control, because it's when you are living a life where you have a person who is not your mother, and you have to make everything very clear to that person. Because if you notice, uh, when you have your own mother, you don't have to explain a lot of things. A lot of things are understood, because a mother is able to understand her child in a much better manner than anybody else. I mean, if there is anyone on this earth who can understand another human being, that's the mother. And if you lose a mother at an early age, it becomes very difficult to confide in a total stranger. But well, that's the way things are, and you have to move on. And Alhamdulillah, I would say that what I am today is because of the grilling that took place in that period, where we were subjected to a stepmother who was really a hard taskmaster, uh, and changed us into commandos, I would say. So it was more like a commando training, rather than, a proper uh, versatile kind of a comfortable home. So, but all forgiven and forgotten. The best thing is, what is the end product? And the end product is a person here who is determined to take on the bull by its horns at any time. No crisis is a crisis. And wherever there is a problem, you don't have to panic. You don't have to create a scene. You just have to sit down and find a solution. That's my life now. Yes, Samar.
Okay. So I'm going to ask you. So I wanted you to tell us your story अपनी ज़बानी जैसे होता है ना अपनी कहानी अपनी ज़बानी. So I didn't want to interrupt at all because you were saying a lot of interesting things, and I think you shared a lot of nuggets of wisdom, right? And obviously, because in every human being there is so much potential, and you're actually talking about tapping into
Yes.
that potential. You were just 11 years old. I'm sure maybe before that, obviously, you had that skill set. So my daughter is now 10 and a half years old, right? So I can relate in that aspect that she's
Right.
so tiny. She's just 10 and a half.
Yeah.
So, 6 months more. So what I'm going to ask you is, what do you think? So obviously you've related different milestones, right? Which were really important, and then what was happening during that time. But where do you think you were finding this hidden reserve of strength? What were you able to एक तो आपने बता दिया कि वो जो feeling थी ना immediately, that feeling of responsibility, that baby who's 10 months old who needs milk, and you have to feed that baby. There's no to you don't have time to
Yeah.
fall apart, right? But
Mhm.
what else? What
Mm.
are some of these? Where are you getting these reserves of strength?
Well, I think, some there are some times then where you have to get a kickstart, and that was the kickstart of my life. It was a very early period, but it helped in one way that, like I told you, no crisis is a crisis, and this determination strength has become manifold. The strength there, because that is very important. The ability to handle things. And the best thing is that, I would suggest to everyone that, look, everybody has their ups and downs in life, and it's better to sit down, analyze, and rather than, just scatter yourself. There are very many people who will escape through drugs and through different means, which is an escapism. It will not uh, rid you of the reality that you are facing. It will just give you a momentary escape into something which you don't want to face. If you face your problems, you will be able to handle them better. So even my students, when they are in a fix, when they are worried about the exams or anything, I mean, the best thing is that, give them that consolation that, look, you just have to sit down, concentrate, focus, and you will be okay. So I think the triggers should keep on going. The determination and the spirit of moving on should be there if you really want to achieve something in life. Now, here I would say that I give full credit to a few persons in my life. Among them are my teachers in the convent. I think I've been very fortunate to have those remarkable teachers, whether it was the Urdu teacher, Miss Vicky, or my geography and literature teacher, Miss Fikri. They were the they were the persons who really, molded my character. At every moment of my life, I just keep on sending my gratitude to them. It, Many of them are now no longer in this world, but still, whatever they did, that was remarkable. To give us that kind of a push into the world, to be able to see everybody in their true grit and grime, and just everything that comes to me as a person is mostly because of them. And later on, when I met my husband, he was the next person to create that kind of an push, that really helped me to understand myself. Now, they groomed me, but he helped me to understand myself and my capabilities. If I was faltering in my ability to understand my capabilities, he helped me to, move on. Like he said, look, you have this capability, use it. This writing skill, okay, I no doubt I scored a 44 out of 50 in my essay in the CSS exam, but I never tried to put it into real test, But he said, no, if you have the capability of writing, write. And in fact, he egged me on, that you should write because you can pen your thoughts in a very good manner. So do it. And of course, I heard him, and then I started writing also. So people are enjoying it, and I'm also enjoying it. The best thing is I look forward to my weekly article. That okay, I'm going to write on this time, and it takes time because when you are committing something in pen, you have to be extra careful that you're not saying anything which is untrue or which is not properly researched. So even if you have to produce a two-page essay, it should be backed up by proper research. So writing, reading, all that is continuous process of our lives.
So I
Because
just
now
want to
that
stop
both the
here for a
sons are
second.
abroad and we are on our own, so we are living our own lives now without any liability as such. Of course, other liabilities are there, friends and relatives and everything.
I just wanted to insert here, right? So I think one of the points that you've highlighted right now, which I do want to take a moment to kind of stress, is the importance of having champions. So when you're talking about your teachers, who were your mentors, who were your support circle, teaching you things, right, role models, etc. So that, and then later on that role that your husband played. So I think sometimes, especially women, we forget that we need these champions to keep egging us on. I love that term, egging on, because sometimes we're just like, okay, we can't do this, or we're not capable, or we're being insecure. And I think we need that kind of, that kind of relationships, those kind of people in our lives. Okay, so we have an interesting question which has come in. Okay, so I'm going to show that up on the screen as well. At what age did you become an advocate? As I can gather from your conversation, you were a civil servant for some time as well. It's interesting to know that it's not embarrassing to be a late bloomer and steady late, as so many women think it's not worth starting late either because they were busy raising kids or a sudden career change. Right. So, in your case, what sort of advice do you think you want to, impart to other
All
women who
right.
are trying to figure things
Um,
out? And
I've met a lot of ladies who have a lot of potential, and I've been telling them that they must utilize the potential. Among which one is my colleague's wife, a master's in English. She, in fact, got first class, first position in her first year in college. Very capable lady. And because of the family circumstances, because of the husband's insistence that she will not work and she will remain a housewife, she never tried working. But I kept on telling her that, look, you have the ability, so you must do something. So she started off by a small tutoring class, taking tutoring classes at home of young children, uh, teaching them, preparing them for the HSN admission exams. So initially she started off with 3 or 4, and now after about 10, 12 years of doing this, she has opened her own school. And the irony is that her husband, who was always preventing her from working, after retirement, he has now joined her in the school. So there is never, it's never too late kind of a slogan should not never be in one's life. We must start off whenever we can. And myself, I joined the civil service when I was 24. I resigned in 2003 and did my law and became advocate high court in 2007. So well, one can say that I started off at the age of, I mean, the law part, I started off at the age of 48. Yes, I was 48 then. And Alhamdulillah, I hadn't had any issues and doing very well. And it's been more than 10 years. I should be applying for the Supreme Court now, but doesn't matter. It will go on. And I think age should not be any obstruction. One can start at any time. And as,
Hmm.
like I gave you the example of my friend, and that's not the only one. I mean, that was an example where, in practicality, something has happened. But there are many women who I keep on insisting that they should do something, even if they are sitting at home. You know, at home they should also be productive. They should try to utilize their skills if they have any, like knitting, painting, drawing, anything. Now, give you another example of mine. I was very fond of playing the sitar. And in 89, my husband said, okay, you want to learn? All right,
Hmm.
you play the sitar also. So I started learning in 89, and now I'm, well, I won't say I'm a master, but okay, kuch ho hi jata hai.
Great.
I do manage to
Yeah.
play a few tunes and some classicals. So,
Hmm. So I've got a question for
so
you.
that was another, I
So
mean, yeah,
oh, I'm sorry, I think there is a little bit of a lag, ठीक है? So मैं जब आपसे पूछती हूँ ना next सवाल वो बीच में आपने pause किया होता है, right? But it comes across as I'm interrupting you. I'm not trying to do that at all. What I
no, no,
did
no, it's
want to
okay, it's
ask
okay.
you, so one of the things that you
Hmm.
mentioned, right, and I think that's very important. So you talked about how you needed to negotiate your room, your space, your choices, especially with your stepmother, right? And everybody has figures like that, maybe in their family or else perhaps at the workplace, whatever. Do you have any strategies for young women and men both? How can they navigate? You know, how do you hold your own when you're trying to negotiate? When do you not give more of your territory away? I think that's a difficult part, right? Especially for women.
Yes, very difficult. No, well, actually, Samar, the thing is that it's very easy to fight outside forces, but it is very difficult to scuffle with your near and dear ones, especially your kith and kin, you know, your siblings, your parents. It's very difficult to put up a fight with them. And when you do, you are called a rebel. So, but outside forces, it's not so difficult because you don't have anything at stake with them. But still, you know, you need your own self. And I think that becomes more pronounced when you show your determination, not in a very crude manner, but in a polite manner. There should be, because you see, ours is a very orthodox kind of a conservative society where it's very difficult to uh, cut yourself off from your parents, you know. So you have to be very careful. You're treading on very sensitive grounds. So you have to be careful how you handle them. So I don't know, somehow or the other, you know, at times you need to be a little more stubborn, or you have to show your no your real grit there. But it's very difficult. I mean, I'm sorry, it's I can't just, because every household has its own kind of an atmosphere, an environment.
Hmm.
And if I say something which is volatile, I mean, it will be like instigating children against their parents, which is wrong. But parents should also understand, you know, that their children have their own space. They should have their own space there. And if they, and the best thing, you know, to understand a person is that when the parents don't have trust in their training, they are the ones who will be more possessive and who will be more controlling about their children. Now, if somebody has given you a training which they are confident that they have created sensible then the parents also will have no insecurity. So there's something wrong with the way we are bringing up our children, especially girls and boys both, uh, where we are not allowing them the room, because we want to control everything. Now, if you notice, when a child is a child, fine, he needs his parents' support, but when he grows up or she grows up, we are so concerned about their marriages, and then after marriages we still don't want to let go of them. We want to control, whether they have children or they don't have children. We want to control every
Yes.
bit of their life. Why?
Huh.
After a certain age, let go. Let them live their own lives. If you have faith in your training, you will be happy with what the outcome is. I mean, it's so difficult for our parents to leave their children. I wrote an article on that, in fact, and it was highly appreciated by a lot of young children who came to me and said, "Ah, yeah, आपने बिल्कुल ठीक लिखा." You know, where I've mentioned all these facts. That the parents should be more sympathetic and more considerate about their children's desires also, because many times I've noticed that a person, there's a family friend of ours who couldn't become a doctor because he did not have the aptitude, and his parents were insisting that he should become a doctor. The poor fellow ended up in a mental crisis. So think that's cruel, that's mean. So we have allowed our children to do what they wanted. We had a law firm, and we could say that no, you also do law, and because you take on this inheritance, who is going to inherit all these clients and all this, the offices and the books and everything. We didn't force the children to do that. One is an astrophysicist and the other is a computer scientist. Both have their own fields, and they're very happy in their lives. So that should be the aim of the parents, to make keep their children happy, not force their own wishes on them. I mean,
I
there are
think
so
that's
many
very
parents who would
important.
want their children to become, like, I would have loved my one of my child to become a doctor, because I wanted to be a doctor, and that was a kind of a dream
Yeah.
which I could not fulfill myself. But then it's not fair with the child.
No, no, so lots of synergies there, right? जैसे आपने बताया कि आप जो थी पहले डॉक्टर वाला ट्रैक था. So my mum wanted to be a doctor her entire life, even though my grandfather, my maternal
So now,
grandfather was a doctor.
I'll tell you something
But
about.
okay, again, there is that lag that's coming in. There is that lag that we've got. So let me just complete my thoughts. I was just going to say that so my mom wanted to be a doctor, but her father didn't let her.
Yeah,
So she wanted one of the two daughters that she
yeah,
had
okay.
to become a doctor, right? And my sister said no. She said she wants to study law. So वो eliminate होगी बड़ी है मुझसे तो वो
Mhm.
आराम से exit कर गई. And then I was left. So till A levels I did medical subjects, right? I took pre-med subjects, and now I really think that I'm doing so much. It's a very narrow definition we've got, right? So we like to box people in, and we've got a narrow definition that if you want to serve people, you can only serve people by being a doctor, whereas you teach, or I teach entrepreneurship, right? So, or
Mhm.
youth development, whatever it is, or social work. There are so many other ways to serve human
Mhm.
beings, right? So even if you're an artist, you're drawing something which is appealing, which is pleasing to the eye. It's, I mean, beautiful buildings that you create. So I think part of the problems comes back to us, where we like to define things and box them too soon. And the other piece that you say, I think, is really important as well. We've got to make our own mistakes, right? वो मजा ही
Mhm.
नहीं आता अगर हर कोई मना कर दे ये ना करो वो ना करो, then you don't even make any mistakes, right, in life. And it's just going to be a life filled with regrets. So anyway, but go ahead, you wanted to say
Yeah,
something else,
that's
so
true.
continue.
True. Yes, I wanted to say that we should pursue our dreams. We should do what we enjoy, and we should not think about money. Now, a lot of times, people think that. Oh, I'll give you another example. I was teaching this MBA class, and I had this Civic of the latest model. So I parked my car, and as I was walking down towards the class, two of my MBA students joined me. And when we came to the class, you know what he said? One of them said that, oh, I just asked them, what will you do? So he said, immediately after my MBA, I'm going to join some big company, and I will buy a car like yours. And I said, you know what? To buy this car, there is a 20 years long struggle behind it. It was not overnight that I got this car. There was a lot of struggle, there was a lot of hard work, labor that went into it. And now I've got the car. So don't think that this was something which I got the very next day of my graduation. So, well, this is how we actually look at other people. We envy their wealth, their fortune. But more than that, my motto is that I should be able to earn sufficiently in order to serve others, with that money that I have, the surplus that I have. I should be able to help out a lot of destitute people, and be able to, I'll be more productive if I am. And even when I performed Hajj, my prayer was that, oh God, give me enough strength to earn so much so that I can help your creations, your people. So if you want to serve, you're right. You don't have to be a doctor. You can serve as a teacher. You can serve as a social worker. There are so many avenues, and trust me, there is no end to serving in any way. So the prime purpose of a person should not be making money, it should be pursuing your goals, because money is a byproduct. It will come if you have the relevant skills and if you have the relevant education. So look at Edhi. What he started off in a two-room house where he was taking care of the people on the streets, and within no time, this person achieved so much in his life, and he was able to serve not just a few people of a small locality. He had access to the entire country. So this is what it is all about. One's own self contentment, one's own determination. This money thing, it will just come in, by itself. One doesn't have to pursue money. That is a very wrong concept that we have developed somehow or the other. And we must try to, it is important. Money is important for your life, but it is not the end of your life. I mean, it will come. The money will definitely come if you have the abilities and the hard work to follow, right? So this is one of my morals of life, that just keep in your mind that you have to serve your family, serve your friends, serve others. Always give. Don't take. Don't allow yourself to be the person who is going to take. Always be that person who is the first to give. Giving helps to, when you give, you will get, and you will get from sources which are totally unmatched and unbelievable. They will not be just from the work that you do, they'll be from all kinds of different sources, which are really remarkable. So,
Completely agree,
I think,
110%.
Summer, you know, we have become very materialistic, unfortunately. And the spirituality in our lives is kind of vanishing. And we need to bring that back. We need to infuse our young generation with the spirituality, which is somehow, diminishing every day. So, materialism, okay, good enough, but without spiritualism, it becomes too, abstract. So there is no self contentment, and anything which cannot give you self contentment, that is not success in my view. Success comes
So
where you can say, yes, I'm satisfied with my life, I'm content. These are two different things.
I was just going to say that there are
Right.
so many things that you're sharing today, And I'm so glad that we're having this conversation because there's a lot of synergy in what you're saying, right? So I think some people reach their self actualization phase faster, and it's okay. So when I left my job at Karandas and to pursue Epiphany, and I was setting up a social enterprise, ek those time pe people didn't even know social entrepreneurship hota kya hai. And then of course I was leaving a very well paid job at a very good position to start to do something which I had never done before, right? So there was a lot of criticism until today. Some people, because Karandas has become, us time pe wo nascent phase mein tha, now obviously it's, you know, become a huge entity on its own. So everybody looks at me, still looks at me a little bit crazy. What's wrong with you and things like that, right? And at the end of the day, I think what we need to kind of reflect back on is our definition of success. What is success for us, right? एंड सक्सेस जैसे आप बता रही हैं कि उसने वो आपके स्टूडेंट ने फ़ौरन कह दिया कि मुझे यही वाली गाड़ी ही देनी है, दैट मे बी सक्सेस फॉर हिम, राइट? और व्हाट ही परसीव्स एज सक्सेस बिकॉज ऑफ अगेन what the cultural surroundings or people expect of us, or our parents expect of us, or whatever future wives and husbands expect of us, right? And bottom line yahi hai ki what is success for you or for me, and what is going to make us happy at the end of the day. So jo aap self contentment ki baat kari, and I think, you know, wo jo wisdom hai, I think I just want to spend one quick second on it, because I think some of the people have not realized how much happiness or self contentment or satisfaction or whatever you want to call it, giving to somebody creates for you. So I always joke around with my other, you know, creative and social entrepreneurs, and I say, you know, we're so selfish actually. Bottom line, we're selfish because we like the feeling that it gives to us to do this work that we're doing, and we want to keep doing it. So actually, if you think about it, we're being selfish because it makes us happy, but at the same time, it's making someone else happy. Right? So I think those things are really important, and especially जैसे आप young लोगों को पढ़ाती भी हैं लम्स में, तो आपने देखा भी होगा कि that thing is now slowly and gradually it's dissipating, right? That spirit of giving or being kind, it comes down to kindness as well, right? But anyway, so coming back to, again, you know, just a couple of questions before our time runs out, I would like to ask you about, you know, 3 life lessons that you would like to share with our audience.
Correct. Hmm. Yes. Yes. Right. One is always remain open hearted. You know, there are a lot of things in life when you feel, like you were just mentioning, you want to be selfish, but no, just rule that out of your life and be more open hearted, and try to embrace people, you know, try to widen the scope of your heart. And trust me, the more you will embrace people, I mean, not physically, please, in your life, in a proper manner, the wider, the bigger the heart you will feel from inside. You will feel more room inside yourself. And number 2, forgive. The problem in our lives is that we bear so much malice towards even a slight problem, you know, that we have with anyone. We nurture that malice. That is again a very horrible thing to do, because it does not help you to remain healthy. Leave off malice, forgive, just forgive others, and you'll find yourself in a much happier position. You will find yourself lighter, because when you bear malice, you will feel weighty, and you will feel as if your life has become a burden. But the moment you forgive and forget, that is the moment when you will feel an enlightenment, which I would relate to that of Buddha, an enlightenment in which you feel a nirvana kind of a feeling. All right. So that's number two lesson. One, open heartedness. Second, forgive and forget. And the third is don't disconnect yourself with the creator of this universe. Because when you befriend the creator, trust me, you are never going to be alone. You will never be lonely. And you will always kind of, feel that exuberance in yourself, which nothing can bring to your life. So these three things I would suggest to all my young generation that have yet to face the dilemmas and the problems of life. And if they are, if they keep their mind straight, and if they keep their uh, eyes open, and if they have trust in themselves, then they will never fail. And failures are just a means to success. So failures should also not be taken as something, which will just leave them desperate, or cut them off from the world. No, failures are learning lessons. So one is never always successful in that sense, that each time that you do something, you expect that the returns are going to be multi multiple. No, there will be disappointments, but those disappointments should lead to better learning and better experiences. So, and always take people along with you, your family, your friends. Never leave them behind. Don't try to pull their legs, or try to create obstacles for them. Give them their space. Give others people them their space. Live and let live. That is very important for every human being. So when you live and let live, then you will also have the ball of your life. So right now I can say with great certainty and with great confidence that Alhamdulillah, God has given me that ability and that self contentment, which I'll, if I die tomorrow, for example, I will have no repentance. I mean, I cannot say that, oh, I didn't do this, I didn't do that. No, I did everything that was within my reach and within my scope. So, and whatever I had, I am willing to give to the world in a very open manner, without any expectations. When you expect, then you get disappointed. When you don't have any expectations, there are no disappointments, and one is happy. So remain happy, and keep everybody around you happy too. The positivity should always be there. So Summer, I think that was quite a uh, lecture, I think.
That was not that was not three lessons. That was a lot more than three lessons, but I think really, really useful. So thank you so much, Huzaima, for being with me. I want to say Huzaima Sahiba or Huzaima Mami. By the way, I have a question. Who's your favorite nephew? You know who that is from. So please bata de
I think there's a
publicly who your favorite nephew is.
pause again. Well, all right. Ji Summer, are we done?
Yes, we are. So thank you very, very much. And extremely, extremely thankful to you for making time. And I hope that our audience
Okay,
has
okay.
learned. I've definitely learned a lot. Okay,
Okay,
Khudafiz.
okay. All right. You're talking about Munib Ali Sikandar?
Obviously, obviously, right? He is poking me. कि ये जरूर पूछ लो
Well,
जल्दी
I
से
have
उनसे.
lots of nephews and nieces, and I'm proud of all of them. Actually, you will be very surprised to learn that. many times they consider me a role model, and they have been following my initiatives. And mashallah, mashallah, many of them are successful career women and career boys, and they're
Okay, so I think that there was this really terrible act. So apologies for that. I came back into the studio and I guess वो बात कर चुकी थी. So thank you so much for watching. I'm sure that you must have extracted all of these nuggets of wisdom that Huzaima Bukhari was sharing with us just now. So thank you very much, and looking forward to seeing you guys in the new year now. So, oh, by the way, sorry, I forgot. There's tomorrow. I'm going to see you again tomorrow because there's a Wonder Women in the Gaming World session again at 8 p.m. So see you guys tomorrow, and then after that, hopefully just in the new year. All right. Thank you so much.